Hi, and welcome to the extension on the meaning of fractions. Normally, when we have a fraction, we look at it as a part of a whole. So, for instance, here, if I had a candy bar and I wanted to share this candy bar with one of my friends so that we each would have a piece, I would divide the candy bar into two equal parts, and would the one part that I would give away would be one half of the candy bar, and I would keep one half of the candy bar. So that's normally how we look at fractions. We look at it as part of a whole. But today we're going to learn that there's more than one way to interpret one half, or any fraction for that matter. So, for instance, if I have one half like this, it can be read as 1 divided by 2, whereas the 2 would go outside of the division house and the 1 would go on the inside. So 1 half can be read as 1 divided by 2. Another way that we can read 1 half is in the form of a ratio, and ratios are comparisons between two numbers. So here, this ratio can be read as 1 to 2 or 1 to 2. So for every one crescent moon that I have 2 full moons. So here we have 1 to 2. That would be read as 1 to 2, even though it looks just like the fraction, because there's another way to say it. Another way that we can look at fractions is as a measure of length. So this 1 half would actually be the measure of the triangle. As we can see, this is 1 inch, this whole space here, but the triangle is 1 half of that space. So this triangle's length is 1 half inches. So let's look at another example. Here I have a pie, and now I have 3 friends, and I want us all to have equal parts of this pie. So I would divide the pie into 4 equal parts, and we each would get 1/4 of the pie. So out of all 4 of us, one part of this pie is 1/4. Again, that is part of a whole, and that's normally how we learn fractions. But now to extend that, this 1/4 can also be read as 1 divided by 4, where 1 goes inside of the division house and 4 is on the outside of the division house. So 1 divided by 4. Another way to look at 1/4 is as a ratio. As a ratio, we would read this as 1 to 2. I'm sorry, 1 to 4. So for every one rock that I have, every one rock that I would have 1, 2, 3, 4 sticks. So that's a ratio, the comparison of two numbers. So for every one rock, there's 4 sticks. Again, we take in 1/4 and we've extended it. There's another way to say 1/4, or to use this. It has more than one meaning. The next way is as a measure of length. So here I have this tower. This is one tower. Here this person is next to the tower. They are 1/4 of the tower. 1/4 of a tower. So here this is a measure of length. So let's review. Normally, we understand fractions to be a part of the whole. So for instance, here, 1/3 of this rectangle would be this part right here, 1/3. And that's normally how we read it, and that's fine. But now we know that there's more than one way to read 1/3. We can actually look at it as 1 divided by 3 as division. 1, 2, 3, there's one triangle to 3 dots, and we can use it as a measure of length. This square is 1/3 of a foot of the whole rectangle, which is 1 foot. So there we have an extension on the meaning of fractions.